In the past 3 years, more than 100 Tibetans are reported to have set themselves on fire, so-called self-immolation, to protest continuing Chinese rule and brutality. It's a disturbing trend in a country that's long embraced non-violent protest against China. The country's spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, has always advocated a peaceful approach to resisting oppression. But as China's power grows and the Dalai Lama ages, he's now 78, there are questions about whether his influence is waning. Even though the Dalai Lama is regularly in Australia, including this week, the Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, has never agreed to meet him. And earlier this year, 7:30 reported that Sydney University had cancelled plans to host an event with the religious leader on campus for fear of upsetting China. The Dalai Lama joined the program in Sydney today. Your Holiness, thank you for your time. Do you see any possibility of reconciliation between Tibet and China in your lifetime?
Oh yes, certainly. They have to sort of accept the reality. Then, you see, we have our own different culture, different language, these things. So meaningful autonomy, have every right to keep this unique thing. And meantime, remain within the people of China is our own interest. Tibet materially backward. So now China now is really become the economic power of the world. So it is our own interest. And after all, you see, thinking one's own sort of sovereignty, these things are not much relevant to today's world. Look, European Union.
Since February 2009, there have been more than 100 Tibetan self-immolations to oppose Chinese rule and policies. Does that mean that Tibetans are losing patience with non-violence?
No. I think the self-burning itself one practice of non-violence. These people, you see, they easily use bomb, explosive, more casualty people. But they didn't do that. Only, you see, sacrifice their own life. So this also is a part of practice of non-violence.
Given how important you have been in keeping attention on this issue, do you fear that the Chinese government is waiting for you to die so it can launch a hard crackdown on Tibet to try to put this issue to bed?
Oh, some hardliners is thinking that way. But some, even hardliner, feel that while Dalai Lama, they are a little bit easier. If Dalai Lama no longer, then no one, no Tibetan, you see, can represent 6 million Tibetan.
So do you think that the Tibetan people need to fear what will happen after your death in that case?
Of course, Tibetan spirit will remain. The Dalai Lama institution lasts about 400 years or 600 years, like that. Then Buddhism, Tibetan nation, over 2,000 years. So in the future also, you see, without Dalai Lama, the Tibetan nation remain, Tibetan spirit remain.
How do you interpret the Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard declining to ever meet with you?
Well, okay, no problem. My main concern is meeting with public, because my main commitment, main interest is promotion of human value, human affection, compassion, and religious harmony. The Prime Minister, I think, not much relevant in this field. If I have some sort of political sort of agenda and ask Prime Minister, then Prime Minister sort of decline seeing me, then I feel disappointment. But I have nothing to ask her.
You mentioned earlier China's economic influence is growing. Is it a risk for you that as China becomes more influential, politicians around the world are scared to meet with you because they don't want to offend China?
Oh, no problem. No problem. I think real change come from within Tibet, not from outside.
Do you fear death?
Unnecessary fear, death. Death is part of our life. And then also, Buddhism is one of the sort of spiritual tradition tradition. We accept life after life. So death means change our clothes. Clothes become old, then time to come change. So this body become old, and then time come take young body.
When you look back over your life, you became the Dalai Lama not of your own will, it was involuntary. Do you ever wish that things had been different and that you weren't the Dalai Lama?
That's also unrealistic. Whether I like it or not, I already become Dalai Lama. So better to carry the certain responsibility, certain way of life, according to that. It's much better.
You always seem so happy and calm. Do you have to sometimes fake it?
No. As a Buddhist practitioner. And also, I always is telling people, you should be honest, truthful. Then, automatically, your act can carry transparently. If you hear self-centered attitude, then saying compassion, then there is contradiction. You cannot carry transparently. So you have to pretend something.
Do you sometimes have to restrain emotions like anger, sadness, irritation?
Some anger come, then immediately express. The other day, the official, you see, he come a little bit late. So then I immediately express like that. As a human being. So anger also part of our mind. Irritation also part of our mind. But you can do. Anger come, go. Never keep in your sort of your inner world. Then create a lot of suspicion, a lot of distrust, a lot of negative things, more worry.
Well, Your Holiness, I don't want to irritate you by taking up too much of your time, so thank you very much.
Thank you.